Nice light Pilsner to get the day started.
I feel super bad for him because of what happened in his personal life while he was on tour. That's just crazy.
Well, I don't even know about this.
Look it up. I don't want to say again. I want to keep it respectful.
Oh my God!
You're finding.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I just found out. No way.
Yeah.
I'm
You can
sorry.
do this later.
That is so shocking to me.
You can do this later.
What
you
a
can do this later.
scumbag! Not
Yeah.
Jason Duffner. Not Jason Duffner. Let me be
No.
very clear. Jason Duffner is not a scumbag.
Jason Duffner.
There's another individual who is.
Yeah.
And he may have come out with a really shitty line of golf apparel recently. Number one, I don't think Pine Tree is an insanely difficult course, but given that it makes up a lot of its distance on par 3s and par 5s, there was a lot of holes where I didn't need to hit driver, and in fact, a lot of them I didn't even need to hit 5 or 3 wood. I hit 4 iron on a few.
And again, I don't mean this in a bad way. This is a lot of people struggle with this. I struggle with it. You know that I struggle with this. You are very bad at being the best caddy for yourself. Once you fail at executing the shot the way you wanted to, then it's like hate on Zach. The exercise that you should do with your players, your juniors, college students, whatever, is you should just go on their playing lesson. If you're doing a playing lesson with them, you should go take some balls of theirs. They hit a great shot. And then they hit their neck. They're going to hit their next shot. They hit a great second shot. Take a ball and chuck it into the woods or chuck it into the high rough and say, all right, that shot doesn't count anymore. I need you to play from here. Mindset's definitely not I suck, because they just hit 2 great shots. They're much more likely to hit that shot well than and again, statistics will prove me out on this. They're much more likely to hit that shot well if you did it over a large sample size than if they themselves hit the shot there. If you just took all their bad tee shots and you just looked at where their dispersion rate was, they'd be a lot closer to their target if you just threw them in the spot than if they themselves hit it to that spot.
Gotcha. I think my issue is proximity to hole ball striking. All right. Well, I'm here. Zane was here.
I'm supposed to be here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't see you.
It should be on. All right. It'll do whatever it does.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to Barely Out of Bounds, the only golf show podcast where you can watch a man talk to his brother about golf and drink a beer. I'm Zachary Smith, Beerly Zach on Twitter, and I'm joined as always by my good friend, best brother, Zane Smith. How we doing tonight, buddy?
Doing all right. I just don't know if you can hear or see me. Can you hear or see me?
I can hear you. I cannot see you.
Nice. Is the audio quality at least still good-ish?
Audio quality is fine. I'm just gonna full screen my
okay
until your camera gets back going. So we got some fun stuff to talk about tonight. Obviously we've got a lot to cover. It's been a while since we recorded the podcast, but we're going to talk about Scheffler winning the FedEx Cup. We're going to talk about my mind's going blank. We're going to talk a little bit of President's Cup. We're going to talk about the match between Bryson, Brooks, Rory, and Scheffler. And then we're also going to talk about some of the demands made by certain tour professionals, PGA Tour professionals, by the guys that left to go to Live Golf. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about the tournament me and Zane played in. So we're going to go ahead and start with Scheffler. This is a bit of a throwback. A few weeks ago, Scheffler takes it down He was very adamant going into this event that it's not really a season-long award because whoever wins it wins the thing. Despite the handicap system that they've implemented in order to give the person with the best season head start, doesn't he ended up winning, which isn't that big of a surprise. But how do you think all that ended up playing out, Zane? Now I can't hear you, but I can see you.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
You can't hear me now?
Now I can, yes.
Okay, perfect. We're just going to do this. We're just going to use the shitty, laptop camera is what it is. I think it played out exactly how you thought it would, ending the year. Scotty coming in with the win here in Atlanta at East Lake. Man, it's still bumming me out that I have to use this shitty camera. Sorry. And why you want to bring up the tournament, Zach? Why you want to you just want to torture me? Huh?
No, listen. We talked about the Georgia Open qualifying. I figure it's important to talk about every tournament we play in.
Yeah, it's important. Important. Yeah, that's the word I use. That's the word I use to talk about that. Is what I do all the time. Is that word using with that one?
I mean, it's gonna close out the podcast. It'll be fine.
Oh, okay. At least that's gonna be, at least you're gonna wait, till the end. That way, I might have to pull the trigger off the screen instead of on the screen. That's courteous of the listeners at the very least. You know what I mean? No, it was kind of funny listening to the intro, where it was me saying a lot of. Is it too loud or is it good?
No, you sound fine.
It was funny listening to that intro and me saying the thing about you being the best caddy for yourself and stuff like that.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same thing.
Looking at what happened Monday, Tuesday, and then this whole entire week, and including today, out on the golf course, it's just kind of funny that it's like, man, if I could just package up that Zane in a little box and just bring him with me, and
put him in your pocket,
put him in my pocket, and just pull him out, put him in a napkin, and then open up the napkin and say, "Hey, Zane,
hey, man,
what should I do right now?"
Okay, everything's fine.
Yeah, everything's all right. It wasn't that bad of a shot. It's just a slight pull. You'll get it next time, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was. It's been a brutal week on the golf course. Got to play as a marker in the member guest at Golf Club of Georgia, which was fun playing with the members. And it went well. Went well there. Had a good time. So
good.
Yep. But yeah, I think. In the golf world, as far as Scotty winning, that wasn't a surprise. I don't think to anybody that pays attention. He's been playing well all year. And then obviously the lead they get going into the tournament, if they're in first place, pretty substantial lead. And so I'm just. What's your thoughts on the way they do that? I mean, let's talk a little bit about the format that they do at East Lake. What's your opinion of it? We're 3 years into using it.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on this new format? Because I don't know if you remember back whenever we had the Chunk and Run podcast. Why are you changing the backgrounds on me? I feel like I'm getting gaslit. It's like, I didn't change the backgrounds.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. They're not changing. Now Zach's gone.
That's fine. I'm fine. That's just.
Anyway, back whenever we were doing the Chunk and Run podcast, a big thing on the Chunk and Run podcast was that happened. That was the first time they did it was that format.
Yeah.
So what is now that we've seen it 3 times now, We like it. We hate it. We love it. What's your thoughts on it?
I think it accomplishes the goal that they implemented it for.
Which
to not
was?
have two. They didn't want to have two winners in the same week.
That is confusing. I agree.
So like I can't remember who it was, but someone won the tournament at the end of the FedEx Cup, but didn't win the FedEx Cup, which is really hard to do with the old system, but it was possible and it happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of those things where it's like, well, congratulations to the tournament winner, but the winner that gets the most money and the best sponsorship deals is this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I understand them not wanting the confusion there, because that's kind of awkward to have multiple tournament winners in the same, like, you know what I'm saying? Multiple tournament winners in the same tournament, or multiple event winners in the same tournament.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think there's a better way they could do that?
I honestly, they want it to be a season-long championship. I don't know of a better way to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because like the whole idea, everyone's like, oh, he's starting this many strokes ahead. Like that's not real golf, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, it's a season-long championship. So it's not exactly like stroke play golf, like best person with the lowest score wins. Because that's not what the event is intended to do. The event is intended to determine a season-long champion. And so the person that's had the best season will start ahead of the guys that had a good season, but not as good as this guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense.
I think it makes perfect sense for what they want that event to be. I don't have a problem with the stroke head start, honestly. I really don't. The idea is to determine the season-long champion. So the person who's had the best season will have an advantage in this event. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about it, honestly. Going back to the years past, whenever they had the FedEx Cup, whenever you had like Jim Furyk win the tournament, Tiger Woods win the actual FedEx Cup, there's something that you miss out on whenever it's not determined. Like there is no winner of the week determined as of like how they played at that event.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, it's at a set location every single year. I feel like that's not, because what if you just play bad at Eastlake? What if that was brought up by I can't remember if it was Morikawa or somebody, but what if you're just not? What if that style of the what if that course design doesn't fit you? Doesn't fit what you look for in a golf course, and you're having to play that every single year at the Tour Championship? You're kind of SOL if you've done the best out of every player going into that event. Even, you know what I mean? Like, say it fits somebody's eye really well, and they always play good there at Eastlake. Well, then if they sneak in at 30th place or whatever, or 15th place, they may have a better chance of winning the overall or winning the whole year, even though they didn't have the best season. I just think there's something. I think they can definitely re-gear some things that would make it a lot better. I'd almost rather it be a match play championship at the end, just so that you can't say like, oh, it doesn't fit my eye or whatever, because you're just playing that one person, right? And it's not strokes.
I
think
think
not determined by strokes. It's determined by holes.
I think every tour guy would hate that. I really do.
I agree, but I think that might be the fairest way of doing it.
And I think the fans would hate it too. Because what happens if Scheffler gets knocked out in the first round?
That's what the tour would want to avoid.
Yeah. Well, it's also what the fans want to avoid. People don't want to watch who's a guy that made it this year that's not very popular.
I mean, I get your point. I don't agree with it. I don't think you know that for certain. I'll give you an example. You ready? I'll give you an example. You
Yeah.
ready? Like you get March Madness. Get down to the 4 top teams. Not a single SEC school makes the Final Four, right? Maybe you have St. Bonaventure.
That
You have
never
somebody.
happens.
No, but I'm just saying maybe you do that and you don't actually have. Maybe you have Auburn, but you get all these other big teams like knocked out early, or Duke. Say you have Duke in the Final Four,
Yeah.
but all the other teams are knocked out early.
I would disagree with that because in that it's kind of the difference between a team sport and an individual sport, in which the individual sport it's a lot more focused on personality
Okay.
than it is in team sports. So like when in a team sport, I mean, I'm not saying it's not cool to see an underdog win because that'd be a terrible take. It's cool to see an underdog win. Like it's cool when a guy gets his first PGA Tour win. Like we saw that a bunch last year with guys getting their first wins. Jake Knapp and a bunch of other guys got their first wins last year. But I feel like when you're trying to determine, the whole point is to determine a season-long winner, and you have the biggest names in golf there. If Pat Kazire gets in and wins against, I don't know, who's currently Mackenzie Hughes. If it's Pat Kazire and Mackenzie Hughes in that final day with 18 holes, I don't think you're going to have a lot of people watching. And I think that's evident from some of the tournaments last year where we didn't have like really great or really not really great. Obviously, they're really great. Really popular players playing in the final 2 groups on Sunday.
Sure.
The viewership went way down for those.
Yeah.
Events.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying it wouldn't go down. I'm just talking about the fairest way to do it.
But I don't think match play would be the fairest way to determine a season-long champion.
Well, I think honestly, the fairest way to determine a season-long champion is what they had.
Yes, what they had was the fairest. I will agree 100% with that.
Yeah,
but it is I think the tour didn't like the awkwardness of saying, "Oh, this guy won this week, but the champion is this guy."
Mm-hmm.
It is a little awkward.
Yeah,
but I mean that's kind of the thing you run into with individual sports and trying to run playoffs in individual sports.
Yeah,
that's
I know it would be hard for them to do. I would like to see them at the very least move it around. So like
go to different courses
and not be at East Lake every year. Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I would
maybe have
like
4
that.
courses, and you alternate them
and you rotate. Yeah.
And have them be, have a commission of players to find which ones are different, which ones are very different and like play differently. I think that would be a best way of doing it, honestly. I just think that, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the way they do the Tour Championship. I thought it was like I think if we can pull that audio or whatever, I think I was a huge fan of it at the time, but
I think for what they wanted to do with this, I think it accomplishes that goal.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best way to accomplish the goal they wanted to accomplish.
Sure. Yeah, I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
Real quick, this is a Beerly podcast. We didn't even mention what we're drinking. But I didn't want to stop the conversation before it had run its course. So what are you drinking tonight, Zane?
I am drinking Keystone Light.
Leftover from the bachelor party?
Because I am a loser.
Well, Zane, I have a question for you.
Keystone Light, it's the key to losing.
I have a question for you, Zane.
What's the question?
Do you like apples? How do you like them apples? Mercier Orchard. This is a cider. It's beautiful, and it tastes really good.
Did you just use the word beautiful to describe the drink that you're drinking?
Look how beautiful it is.
Please stop. All right. So what are we talking about next, Zach?
Next, let's talk about the. Oh, these kind of both bleed into each other, but
What about the DP World Tour? Is that we're going to talk about
that? We can. That kind of bleeds in as well.
Okay.
Let's talk about. So we're gonna go ahead. This is kind of. We're gonna get into the. This is a more fun topic, and then it's a more of a discussion. But how excited are you for the match between Brooks and Bryson, and Scheffler and Rory?
I'm pretty stoked. I do think Brooks and Bryson got it in the bag.
You do?
I really believe that. Yeah, like 110%. In a team match. Yeah, I do. Have you heard what the format is?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I haven't either. I don't know.
Oh, I thought you were asking. It's like, oh, have you heard?
No.
Well, let me tell you about it. No, I haven't heard. No, I'm pumped about it. I don't know. I think it's a pretty close match. I will say I think that Brooks and Bryson are. I think they're both better putters on average than Rory and Scheffler. So that's going to be interesting thing to keep an eye on when that match is going on. If it's best ball or whatever, or not best ball, if it's best ball works. If it's best ball or whatever, I think there's a chance that
we're getting promised a Ryder Cup style thing where it'll include a foursome play, a 4-ball play, and singles.
Oh wow.
Pretty
going
rad.
6, 6, and 6.
That would be pretty rad.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I do think that kind of stuff's really cool to see. I think that's better for the game than, say, watching these terrible quarterbacks duke it out. You know what I mean? Like that stuff, like those kind of golf matches are stupid, and it's why nobody watches them.
Yeah.
But I think golfers, like really good golf, I think that's why you see those matches, the viewership like skyrocket on those.
Yeah.
Because that's their craft, baby.
Yeah.
It'd be like if you had a bunch of golfers going out and playing flag football and then streaming that. Nobody's going to watch it. I'm sorry. Sorry for all those golf fans that want to see Scheffler throw a dime.
I don't know. I'd like to see it once, but only once.
Yeah, but you ain't going to tune in for it. You'll watch it like you watch the replays of it to see how bad it went.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
No way you would plan and set your clock. Be like, yeah, I've got to be on the couch at 7. I've got to be on the couch at
7 p.m. on a Tuesday, baby.
That's right. I got to be on the couch at 7 to see Morikawa just laying out for one in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think Morikawa's a layout for it kind of guy.
I don't think he is either, but I'm just saying.
Who do you think it is? If there was a layout for a guy on tour, who do you think it is?
Minwoo Lee.
You think Minwoo Lee's a layout for it kind of guy?
I could see it. Are you kidding? Have you seen him try and hit shots?
Who do I think's a layout for it kind of guy? I'm trying to think of someone who's fun.
Who's definitely not a layout for it kind of guy?
Who?
Dustin Johnson.
No.
He'd be like, nah, I ain't catching that.
He's gonna be all-time Q.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would just say I'm an all-time QB, and everybody's gonna be like, okay, all right.
He shows up in flip-flops.
It's all you, dog. It's all you.
But yeah. I don't know who would be a layout for a kind of guy on tour. You know who I could see honestly being a layout
would be. Come on.
I think Justin Thomas is a layout for it kind of guy.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Just kind of kid at heart type deal.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think Jordan Spieth is, but I think Justin Thomas is.
No, Jordan Spieth ain't laying out for that.
No, he's going to be a quarterback blamer. If he does it, like if the ball is like just out of his reach, he's not going to lay out for it. He's going to be like, you got to hit me on that one, bro.
So hit me in the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Of course, Justin Thomas is also the guy to try and catch a ball one-handed when he clearly can get 2 on it and then drop the ball. So,
very true. I can see that. I can see that.
But
anyway, but yeah, I just, what were we talking about?
We're talking
about the match. I think it's going to be a good one. I agree.
I think
I'm really looking forward to it.
And I think it's going to be healing for the game of golf.
Yeah, obviously.
So,
I think this is what we needed. Something like this.
yeah, something.
Not exactly this, but something like it.
What we need, Zane, this is what we need. We need people to get off their high horses. There's a lot of people on high horses right now.
Yeah.
Most of them on the PGA Tour or the committee of the DP World Tour. So it came out recently that a decent number of PGA Tour players have said that in order for the live guys to come back, they need to give back all of the money of their contracts that they signed. And then they might and give some money to the players that didn't go to live. And I think everyone that's talked about this is going to has had the same opinion that we're going to espouse. But Zay, go ahead and espouse your opinion.
That's bullshit. They stuck their necks out. They didn't get autos in the majors. They weren't able to earn OWGR points. They made it easier for you to make it into majors and get OWGR points. For them to have to give the rest of the field all of their cash, all of their contract value, or even just give it back, that ain't happening, Chief. I think that's exactly the wrong way to handle this whole thing.
Yeah.
It's exactly the wrong way. If you want them to play in again, have to play for their tour card again, fine. Fine. That sounds fair. Have to go to Q school, maybe play in a couple Corn Ferry events. Fine. That's fine. But you want them to pay back all of their money after getting their tour card suspended. There's no way they're handing all these cards back to these players anyway.
Yeah.
Let's say even if that happened, they've already got players that are making it in from Q school or PGA Tour University. Mm-hmm. They're not letting them get their just tour cards back.
No.
They only have a certain amount of those.
Yeah.
Because you only have a certain amount of events. And you only have a certain amount of spots in those certain amount of events.
Mm-hmm.
You're not giving back all these cards, so don't even pretend like that offer is even on the table.
Yeah.
It's such a fake offer.
Yeah.
It's such a fake offer. What you do is you just say, all right, you know what? You lost your PGA Tour card. It was a fair trade. You wanted all that money. They knew. And to be fair to the PGA Tour players, they knew if they accepted that money, they weren't coming back. They knew it. Writing was on the wall. Monahan said he wasn't going to play nicely with Greg Norman over there. Mm-hmm. They all knew from the get. And so maybe not with the majors, but they definitely knew with the PGA Tour events.
Yeah.
So if they knew and they're accepting that money as compensation for them being, missing all that, then of course, makes sense. They have to come back. They have to play for their spot just like everybody else.
Yeah.
But they shouldn't have to pay back that money. That money is a compensation that the Saudis made for them so they could come play in their thing, knowing full well that they wouldn't be able to play in other things.
Yeah.
That was the trade. And not only the trade for that, but it's also the trade for all the sponsorships and endorsements they lost moving over to that league.
Yes.
Over to the Live Golf League. So you want them to give back all their money. Here's an idea. If they have to give back all that money, what about all the money that you guys made without the fields being stronger? Do you need to pay that back?
Yeah.
Do you need to pay that money back? All those sponsorship deals that would have gone to somebody else on Live. Do you, tour guy, have to give that money back? Because they made it easier for you to get sponsorships from okayed organizations by the PGA Tour?
Yeah.
That's the problem with this whole, give and take scenario. Nobody wins.
Yeah.
It's like the racism thing. It's like nobody wins whenever you're talking about that stuff. Nobody wins. It's the same thing. And so what they need to do is they just need to say, hey, guys, we know it sucks that, you guys can't play in this, but, you guys did take all that money to go over there, which is fine. We're fine with it. But you guys got to play into the tour just like everybody else now. And I tell you what, a lot of those Live Golf guys wouldn't even give a crap about going and playing in the tour if they had to go back to Q school. They just wouldn't, because it is hard. It is a hard deal. Yeah. So they probably would pass on that decision. But some of them would, and some of them would end up being pretty successful in both leagues.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's my 2 cents about it. What about you, Zach? What's your opinion?
I think it's insanely ridiculous to ask somebody to give back money from a contract in which they were excluded from the tour for accepting. And Zane, you brought it up yourself. They lost their tour card. They lost OWGR points, which means, by the way, if they didn't have all those exemptions for being past champions or whatever, you probably don't see Brooks win a major. You probably don't see Bryson win a major. You probably don't see all these guys win majors over the past couple of years. You don't even see them in contention. So, like, to ask someone, it's like, oh, yeah, you got to give all that money back if you want to come back over here. You got to give it all back. And it's like, no. Because let's be very clear. Let's be very clear. The top 50 players in the world were probably all offered. Maybe not the same amount of money, but they were all offered. And I think that's been evident by the amount of people that said they have been offered or have alluded to the fact that they were offered.
Well, I know that most, if not all, the current PGA Tour card holders were offered.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I know one specifically that was offered. So he's not exactly top on the list.
Let's not mince words when we're talking about this. Everyone was offered. Those guys accepted. You didn't. Okay.
Yep.
You could have that money, but you turned it down.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
It's 100%. That simple. It really is. They accepted an offer. They were paid for accepting that offer and playing in Live Golf and being excluded from tour events, excluded from earning OWGR points for seemingly no reason, according to OWGR's own rules. They paid the price for what they've done. Okay. They don't owe you a damn thing. A damn thing.
Yep.
So I think that was a completely ridiculous, a completely ridiculous. Again, it's a rumor. It's a damn near confirmed rumor by Rory, but it's a rumor. But it is like that's such a ridiculous thing to say. It's actually a crazy person talking when they say this. And I have a feeling Patrick Cantlay is probably that crazy person. But let's continue to the DP World Tour because they had some requirements in order for Live Golf to Live golfers to play on the DP World Tour. So,
you want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, news. The DP World Tour recently rejected a proposal from Live after the league attempted to remove sanctions on Live golfers. The deal would have wiped out the penalties being imposed on Jon Rahm and others in exchange for a monetary payout and various other concessions. The DP World Tour's strategic alliance with the PGA Tour is said to have been a major factor in this decision-making. So, Zach, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? They tried to strike a deal. The deal didn't happen. Is this a huge setback for golf? What are your thoughts?
I think this is really honestly, it goes back to something we talked about a while ago. This might have even been on Chunk and Run and not this podcast. But talking about monopolistic entities working together. I think that like you start getting into weird territory when you don't allow. So the initial issue was John Rahm was trying to appeal his fines. He was trying to appeal them. They wouldn't even let him appeal. Which is a complete break from tradition from things that they've done in the past. And then he offers, okay, well, fine. We'll figure out a way to make this work so that I can still play. I think he was trying to play in the Spanish Open. Yeah. We'll try and figure out a way to make this work. We'll do this. We'll, try and pay the fines or whatever. And then they rejected that deal. And according to sources in the ether, this has a lot to do with the strategic lines between the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. And I gotta say, it's crazy to me that, like, I don't know if they know how bad it looks. Like, I don't know if they know how bad it looks.
Oh, it looks terrible. But this is with every time you get these big organizations colluding together, which is what they're doing, to keep other people that they don't like on the outside of things. This is exactly what happened to Greg Norman way back in the day. It's exactly what happened to Phil Mickelson early in this LIV controversy. I mean, this kind of stuff happens all the time, and it needs to stop. I mean, this is really what holds sports back, any sports back, is this kind of like, oh, you have the elites in the group and you have the outside of the elites, right? Anytime you have that dichotomy, it really ruins the sport for the people wanting to watch. I'll give you an example. The Players' Championship this past season, it was good. But you know what would have been better? All those other guys getting to play in it.
It's supposed to be the best field in golf.
It's the Players' Championship. It is their tournament. And so the fact that they left all these guys out, the move would have been, I was talking with my coworker this past week. The move, and this has always been my opinion, at the beginning of this should have been joining the two entities, and then having team, if you want to do team, which LIV, I don't know if you remember, the team thing got entered in after the fact because they were trying to differentiate their product.
Yes.
Which was smart, right? If this was just a LIV, if LIV was just, hey, we're just going to have exhibitions every other week,
I don't think that's an appealing product.
It's not an appealing product.
Yeah.
I will say I've gotten so many, their marketing team has done a really good job of getting the teams and doing the team branded merchandise and stuff like that. They've done a really good job at it, actually. They sent me some things for Team Smash. So it's like, that's a great way to differentiate your product from PGA Tour, which is all individual. There are no teams. There's not even, any kind of like, there's really not even like it used to be back in the day, you'd always root for the USA guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Playing against, so it used to be like country, and they used to have, they still do the flag thing on the scoreboard, but it matters less and less because you have so many Americans that like Rory McIlroy. You have so many other people that like maybe an American player. And there's not really a thing to identify with. Whereas with LIV, they have teams, and you can identify yourself with a team. You can be like, hey, I'm with Smash. Hey, I'm with the Range Goats.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm with Rippers, who, congratulations, they just won the team championship, by the way, this past week.
They did. Cam Smith's team.
Yep. So that's the thing. Now, I hope they merge the teams with a a home, like a capital city almost, merge it with a city around the world, and that way what you'd essentially be doing is saying, okay, this is a world tour, which they still, they're playing around the world, so there's still the world tour no matter what. But I think it'd be cool. Back on subject, I think that at the beginning of all this, it needed to be Live and PGA Tour were one thing, and maybe they had PGA Tour Live Golf tournaments, and those were throughout the year, and those were the what were they called? The premier events.
Yeah.
And they do that instead of this whole thing where you have, these premier events having a lesser field because all these people have left to go to Live Golf. So, but here's the thing. There's a lot of things that need changing in the golf world. I think first and foremost, what you need to do, I am a huge believer in this, is you need the right staff. And the worst employee in human history is Jay Monahan.
Well, he's not an employee. He's the boss.
He's the employee. Yeah, whenever you're a commissioner, you're an employee of the entire tour, and so it's like you need to get fired.
The problem is he's almost impossible to fire. We went over this.
Yeah, I know. In fact, let's ask Copilot real quick. Let's ask Copilot. You ready? We're going to ask Copilot. We're going to say, how would Jay Monahan be fired? Monahan be fired. There we go. Let's see what we got. All right. A board decision. The PGA Tour Board of Directors has the authority to remove the commissioner. This would require a majority vote on board members. The problem is, Zach, do you know who the board members are?
Yeah.
They're not PGA Tour players.
Nope.
They're his buddies.
Yeah.
So that's not happening. Loss of trust. If Jay Monahan loses trust and support of key stakeholders, including players and sponsors, it could lead to significant pressure on the board to take action, but that's still a board decision, bud.
Yeah.
And then contractual terms. Monahan's employment contract likely includes specific terms and conditions under which he'd be terminated, but again, that's still going to be a board decision.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, the only way that man gets removed is by board decision, but that is the linchpin in the golf world. I really believe, I 100% believe that. I think he needs to be fired. I think that fixes almost every issue. It really does. He is so bad. That fixes nearly every issue.
And not only is he he's a bad leader, number one, because it seems to be the only thing that Jay Monahan wants to do as CEO is enrich Jay Monahan, or as commissioner.
Not seemingly. That is the only thing he wants to do. Evidently.
Yeah.
He made a deal only when he knew he could take Greg Norman's job.
Yeah.
We went over this.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. And guess what? Greg Norman's getting paid a lot of money too.
Yeah.
So what would Jay Monahan getting paid? That plus Jay Monahan's money.
Yeah.
Greg Norman would be effectively fired and he would assume the position.
Yeah.
That is just so messed up.
And then also you got to look at where all that money came from that recently enriched the tour, and it was Jay Monahan's buddies at the Boston Sports Group.
Yeah, BSG
or Fenway Sports
FSG.
Group.
There you go. Yeah, it's one of those things, dog, that like really grinds my gears. It's he's got to go. He's got to go.
I agree. He
is the linchpin in this whole thing.
But not only does he only want to enrich himself. And it seems to be evident that he only cares about Jay Monahan. He's a bad leader, and he's a horrible spokesperson for the tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Horrible.
Well, and here's my problem with him. I get that a lot of people think Greg Norman's a butthead, butthole, and he probably
And
is.
probably is.
He probably is. But you can't tell me from listening to Greg Norman that the dude doesn't have a vision and the dude doesn't want to execute that vision.
Yeah.
I mean, he is one of those guys. Now, those guys are a lot of times those guys are assholes. A lot of the time, those guys are assholes. But
yeah,
they get stuff done, you know, and that's the kind of person, again, not because he's a good guy, but just because he has a vision and he can execute on that vision. That's what you need in a commissioner.
Yeah.
Jay Monahan ain't the guy, dude. He just ain't. Like I was telling my coworker, even if you get a guy in there that's anti-live, but he delivers significantly better product and significantly makes the players more happy to be on tour.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah, I agree.
But you know what he does? He tries to keep the talent by giving them more or giving them a better position than the guys that are trying to get there.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's becoming a tiered system to where like the top guys are always going to be at the top and the bottom guys can never move up.
Correct. And rather having that open dialogue and saying to the players on top and the players on bottom, saying like, hey, it's kind of like the whole Wyndham Clark situation, you know?
Yeah.
Just talking to him, being like, hey, you know, we really want to keep all of you guys. What would it take to keep both of you guys happy? You know, like what would it take you, player that's on top of your game? I mean, what do you want to see? Okay, you want to see these higher events. That's great. Bigger purses. It's fine. Okay, other player, you want to see a ladder, a way to climb up to those events that's not, you know, crazy difficult. Okay, we'll see that. You know, the top 5 in this event, you'll be in the next, or top 10 in this lower tier event. You jump up, you'll be a guarantee in the next premier event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. That's how you keep people around. That's how you keep people engaged. It's how you keep everybody happy, is having that open dialogue. But what you've got with Jay Monahan is you've got a Roger Goodell situation in which he's going to literally the best team or the biggest fan bases and saying, how do I make these guys happy? Instead of going to these other teams and being like, okay, how do I make them happy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, how do we expand the fan base in the NFL, and then you lose a bunch of fans doing that?
Yeah.
NFL lost a bunch of fans to NHL. I don't know if you know that. If you look at the viewership numbers, it's evident where the fans went to go watch their sports. Now, that's not saying that the NFL is not good product. I still watch the NFL, but it is saying that they did significantly damage the NFL itself. Talking about the commissioner, did significantly damage the NFL's reputation over the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
And so that's what led to people leaving watching the NFL.
Yeah.
So it could happen with golf, and it's something that snap of the fingers could happen with golf. It happened with golf, kind of. You know what I mean? As far as viewership goes, viewership's down.
Absolutely, it is.
So,
but yeah, I 100% agree.
Anyway, real quick, you want to end on just the winners of this past since our last episode?
Yeah, let's go. You got them.
Just a congrats. Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations, Team USA. Let's clap. All clap for Team USA. Winning the Solheim Cup. Good job, girls. Way to go, ladies. Way to kill it. I will say it is one of the Charlie Hall ripping darts is one of the hottest things out there, but she is European, so I got to root against her, dog. Got to root against her in the Solheim Cup. You also have the Team Rippers winning the team championship. Everybody clap. Congratulations, Cam Smith's team. You guys did a great job this season. Great job. You also have the winner of the Live Individual Championship, John Rahm.
Way to go, Johnny.
Everybody clap for John. John had a great end to the season. Did not start out the season well. He finished really, really strong, especially in the last event there in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Really good job there. You also have where was he? Well, just go ahead and do Billy Herschel. Billy Herschel, congratulations. Billy Herschel win the BMW PGA Championship over across the pond this past week. I got to see the birdie putt he drained to beat Rory McIlroy.
Nice.
It did not feel sweet because I also hate him. So, but congrats, you win. You win, we clap. You win, we clap. No matter if you're bad. And then also Rasmus Højgaard won in the Irish Open against Rory McIlroy as well.
Not the other more well-known Nikolai.
Yeah,
it's Rasmus.
Rasmus Højgaard won the Irish Open against again Rory McIlroy. Clap for Rasmus Højgaard. And this does kind of scare you, right? I mean, Rory's been playing really, really good at the right time. But at the wrong time, sorry. Rory's been playing really, really good at the wrong time. It's just did the US Open break him? I think it did, dude. He's not looking like the same golfer down the stretch. And he never really was the closer. But
no, he was always a guy that would jump out to a big lead and then coast.
Yeah, but again, he's not being able to close these out.
Yeah.
He did the last 2 weeks, he got into playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? He got into a playoff with Højgaard, right?
I thought Højgaard won outright, but
he won outright. He won outright. Yeah, he won outright. Okay. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, so congratulations to these guys. Did great.
Absolutely.
I actually like Højgaard. I really do. The both brothers really like their skills. They got great swings. They got really good swings. But anyway, Zach, you got anything else to say?
Well, Zane, I said we were going to talk about it. We got to talk about it. Let's talk about the Milton Martin Honda Classic right here in Gainesville, Georgia.
Good night, everybody.
So I played pretty good. Not as good as I would have liked, but pretty good. Ended up finishing tied for 22nd in the professional field. I think I finished T26 overall. So not bad. I shot 75-72 for 147. Yeah, math is mathin'. It's late, guys. I'm not that good at math this late, but 147.
Yeah, science.
The thing I was upset about with that, because if you'd have told me, Zach, you're going to shoot 75-72, you're going to cash as a professional for the first time, I would have been like, oh, dude, sick. Give me high fives all around, all that stuff. The thing that was frustrating was on the second day, I had gotten it to 3 under through 9. I birdied the 9th hole to get to 3 under on the day. And I was in the top 10 at the time. I think I was tied for 8th or something like that. I gotten back to even par, and I was tied for 8th. And then the back 9, I parred the first hole, just missed a birdie on 10. And then went double bogey on 11, birdie on 12, double bogey on 13, birdie on 14. And just never did make another birdie for the rest of the event. But it was, again, obviously I'm happy with the results. I'm happy that I was able to, make money as a professional for the first time. But a little disappointed on how that final back 9 finished after how I was playing that day. Zane, do you want to talk about your rounds?
No, I'm just waiting until we finish. No, I played like I've never quite had. I'm sure I've had that experience in the past at like junior golf tournaments, but I've never really had the feeling that like I couldn't do anything confidently at all in my game. I mean, I literally felt no confidence over a single golf shot. I still don't feel super confident over my driver. I feel more confident than I did then, but I still don't. I still don't feel confident over chipping. I still don't feel confident on my approach shots. I mean, it's a lot of like, I think it's a lot up here.
Yeah.
Not going on, but I mean, like, just some wires need to get, put back
Reattached.
together, reattached, or ripped off. I don't know which, but yeah, it just was not the math wasn't mathing, if you know what I mean.
I have a question for you, Zane, because I noticed something while we were playing. Did you make any like significant swing changes in the last month?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
Why?
It looked different from the last time I played with you.
Okay, what's the biggest difference? Can you tell me?
You were coming into the ball very even. So like it's hard to, I'm gonna stand up and show it. I have to take my headphones off.
That's fine, whatever.
But you're coming in the ball like instead of like going down into it like this, you're kind of coming in like this, like really even. Like you didn't have very, like with your iron strikes, it didn't seem like you were going down into the ball super hard. I noticed it really affecting your shots with your woods mostly. So that includes driver, 3-wood.
You mean so are you talking, when you say even, you mean it resembled more of an address position than an impact position?
Yes.
So all you're talking about is hip turn at impact?
No, I'm talking specifically about hand position at impact. So it's like your hands were very even at the ball. The club wasn't going down into the ground like I'd seen you hit the ball the most recent time we played before today.
Now I'm gonna get up. So are you talking about like at impact, I'm not here. I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Not quite cupped like that, but like, yeah. It's almost like it's like more of a sweeping thing. It looked more sweepy. I don't know how else to describe it. And again, I didn't look
I think
at
you're
it.
just hallucinating, dog.
No, because here's the thing. Me and Tommy talked about it after the round. It was like, because he asked me, did your brother like change his swing from the last time we played? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, it looked really, the term he used, it looked super timing dependent. Like if the timing was just a little bit off, it would be a bad shot. Like there was a lot of club face angle change in the impact zone. There was a lot of loft change in the impact zone. That's why I described it as sweepy, because it was like if you're going down and moving through it, it'd be a good shot. But a lot of times it was you go into the ball and your hands would just be slightly over, and it would be that pull draw, or your hands wouldn't get over enough, and it'd be that push fade. So it looked off. It did not look like the last time I watched you play.
I didn't do a lot with my swing. I don't know. We'll go back to the lab. We'll look at it. At it. We'll pull out our science stuff. Our little science gears, and we'll look at it. We'll just take a look. We'll just put our little glasses on, and we'll just take a look at it. You know what I'm saying? Let's look at it. We're gonna take a look.
But
cheers.
I shot 72 today.
Yes, you did.
Low 70s for the win, man.
Yes, you did. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for watching.